Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. I think it's time to cancel this 90-day Fiancé spin-off for good. This once popular 90-day Fiancé spin-off has gone from must-watch TV to a franchise killer. And honestly, I think it's time we pulled the plug. 90-Day Fiancé Season 1 debuted in 2014, following couples racing the K-1 visa clock. Its popularity led to spin-offs like Before the 90 Days, Happily Ever After, The Other Way, and more, thus creating a sprawling reality franchise. It's true what they say, too much of anything can wear thin. I used to binge 90 Day Fiancé and its spin-offs regularly, hooked on the drama and wild love stories. But after so many spin-offs and familiar faces, the excitement started to fade. It feels like I've seen the same story play out over and over. Lately, I've found myself zoning out while watching a 90-Day Fiancé spin-off. The spark that once made the TLC reality show addictive is fading fast. The drama feels repetitive, and storylines drag on longer than they should. One particular spin-off might be the last straw. I'm seriously considering walking away from the entire 90-Day Fiancé franchise for good. The same old 90-Day Fiancé couples are wearing thin. I've watched these familiar faces go through the same tired drama for years. The breakups, makeups, and fake-outs don't surprise me anymore. I miss when the show felt real and unpredictable. Without new perspectives, it's hard for me to stay invested. The excitement that first hooked me just isn't there now. Meanwhile, The Other Way feels like a reset. I actually look forward to The Other Way because it flips the script. Watching Americans adjust to life abroad is a real challenge, and I love seeing how they adapt. The new couples don't know what's coming, which keeps me curious. Their journeys feel fresh, emotional, and way more engaging than the usual loop. The best part of reality TV for me is being surprised, and I don't get that from the same old cast on Happily Ever After. The Other Way brings real change and stories I haven't seen 100 times. I want drama, but I also want honesty and something that actually feels new. That's what keeps me watching. The cast often end up spoiling their own storylines on social media, even if they don't mean to. I saw Jasmine post about having her baby, Matilda, with Matt Bronnie's back in April 2025. But on Happily Ever After? Season 9. She's not even pregnant yet. It feels strange watching her still act like she wants Gino, when in real life, she's clearly moved on and is enjoying life in Florida with Matt and their baby. Jasmine was the one who first spilled the tea about Gino dating someone named Natalie. She shared it in an Instagram story, saying they had already broken up. Jasmine also claimed he went on to date 2 Brazilian women. I even remember hearing about Gino's relationship with Kelly Wagner, which supposedly ended after he got exposed for messaging other women and body-shaming her. It made me wonder why the show keeps dragging out these already dead storylines. Now, seeing how Gino and Natalie's relationship plays out on TV feels totally out of touch. Jasmine's jealousy and even her physical fight with Natalie seem pointless when we already know it didn't go anywhere. I read Gino has moved on from Kelly, too, and is filming again for 90 Day Fiancé. His storyline with Natalie feels tired and outdated to me. I watched Elizabeth and Andre talk about leaving Florida to move to his hometown in Moldova with their kids, Eleanor and Winston. Elizabeth seemed serious about it, even though her family wasn't supportive. By episode 4, they flew out to Moldova. It felt like she was hoping the visit would help her make up her mind. We threw this party because we decided to move to Moldova. I watched when Andre threw that big party in Moldova to announce their move. Elizabeth looked so uncomfortable. She had been complaining about sharing a bathroom with his parents and the kids. She even admitted she couldn't understand Romanian and had no idea what Andre was saying during his speech, and it felt awkward to watch. I've followed Elizabeth and Andre for years, so I was never convinced they'd move to Moldova on 90 Day Fiancé. U.S. Sun reports that they built a huge 3,670 square foot home in Zephyr Hills, Florida, back in 2022 for nearly $400,000 and are still living there. Honestly, it reminded me of Loren and Alexei's storyline since we all knew they weren't leaving either. If there's one thing TLC knows how to do, it's stretch an idea until it's as thin as a hotel pillow in a 2-star motel. 90 Day Fiancé started out as a fascinating glimpse into cross-cultural romance, immigration hurdles, and the complexities of marrying someone you've only known for a whirlwind few months. But somewhere along the way, what was once charming became, well, the reality TV equivalent of microwaving fish in the office break room. Overcooked, stale, and everyone wishes you'd stop. And of all the 90 Day Fiancé spin-offs clogging the airwaves, there's one that truly needs to be shown the door. I'm talking about insert spin-off name here because it's interchangeable at this point. The series that has taken everything we loved about the original and distilled it into a screaming match surrounded by bad lighting and sponsored Instagram posts. The magic that once was. When 90 Day Fiancé first premiered, it felt authentic. You saw awkward family dinners where parents tried to politely hide their panic. You saw genuine language barriers, cultural misunderstandings, and people who were sometimes heartbreakingly in love and sometimes heartbreakingly naive. There was drama, sure, but it was organic. The spin-offs, however, have transformed that authentic tension into a circus act. The plot now is less about will they make it to the altar in time, and more about who can throw a drink the furthest without getting arrested. The problem with this spin-off. Let's be honest, this spin-off was built on the leftover scraps of the main show. It's like they swept up all the wildest personalities and least compatible couples, stuffed them in a rented Airbnb and said, "Fight for our amusement, please. Also, here's a hot tub." The editing has gone full reality TV, factory mode. Suspiciously perfect accidental run-ins with exes. Drama that magically happens just before a commercial break. The same 5 talking head clips recycled so much you can mouth the words before the cast says them. At its worst, the spin-off feels scripted, not just in content but in energy. It's as if the producers have a drama quota. 3 arguments per episode. 1 shocking confession. Bonus points if someone storms off into the parking lot wearing only flip-flops. The cast knows the game now. Here's the big shift. Early 90 Day cast members were, for better or worse, regular people. Maybe they had a little ambition to be noticed, but they weren't walking into casting thinking, "This is my ticket to an Instagram influencer career." In the spin-off, oh, they know the drill. The eyelashes are bigger. The outfits are flashier. The arguments feel rehearsed. And within 5 minutes of the first episode, you're already seeing people promote their Cameo accounts and discount code for flat tummy tea. The result is that the stakes are gone. You're not watching a love story. You're watching a business plan in progress. The overlap fatigue. Another issue is how this spin-off cannibalizes its own universe. We've now got cast members bouncing between spin-offs like they're on a never-ending cruise ship of recycled storylines. Someone will cause chaos here, then show up 3 months later on another spin-off pretending they've grown as a person. Spoiler, they haven't. They've just learned better lighting angles. It's no longer about love or marriage or immigration. It's about keeping the drama alive just long enough for the next contract to get signed. It's not all bad, but it's mostly bad. To be fair, there are moments, tiny ones, where this spin-off manages to stumble into genuine connection. A heartfelt conversation, a cultural insight, a moment of vulnerability that isn't drowned in tequila shots and passive-aggressive Instagram captions. But these moments are rare, buried under hours of overproduced squabbles. And honestly, the few sweet moments might be better preserved if they weren't sandwiched between scenes of people hurling chicken wings across the kitchen. Why it needs to end. Reality TV thrives on novelty. The first time you see a wild concept, it's electric. The 5th time, it's routine. The 10th time, you're wondering if maybe you could have spent this hour reading a book or learning French. This spin-off has burned through its novelty. It's no longer a guilty pleasure, it's a tired obligation. TLC seems to think that adding more cast members, more screaming and more shocking twists will save it. But at some point, you can't just keep adding salt to a soup and expect it to taste better. The legacy problem. There's also the risk of tarnishing the 90-day Fiancé brand itself. The main show, for all its quirks, still has some dignity left. It still attracts couples who genuinely want to try. But the more this spin-off barrels forward with its chaotic energy, the more casual viewers will lump all of 90 Day into the same messy bucket. Imagine telling someone, "Oh, I love 90 Day Fiancé," and they reply, "Isn't that the one where they threw a karaoke machine into the pool?" You'd have to explain, "No, that's the spin-off, and by then the magic is gone." How to give it a dignified exit. If TLC were wise, and if we're being honest, wise isn't the first word we associate with reality TV executives, they'd wrap this spin-off with a final reunion special. Bring back the most iconic cast members for a retrospective. Show the messy moments, yes, but also the ones that made people fall in love with the franchise in the first place. Let the spin-off go out like a soap opera's final season. A little self-aware, a little sentimental, and maybe even with a wink to the audience that says we know. We milked this for all it was worth. Thanks for sticking around. In the end, I'm not saying 90 Day Fiancé itself needs to vanish. Far from it. The core concept still works. But this spin-off? It's like that house guest who was fun for the weekend but has now been living in your guest room for 2 years, eating your snacks and telling the same story over and over. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for a show is let it end. Not with a crash, not with a scandal, just a graceful bow, a farewell toast, and a promise to remember the good times. Because if we're being honest, the good times for the spin-off have already come and gone.